Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last. Wake me up when September.
No need to wake me, I'm up. It feels strange though, being awake in September. I had been groggy for the last few years, still adjusting to waking up, sipping on my coffee laced with truth or pills, and nearly nodding off during meditation attempts. But things were different this month. This month was the very first September that I was fully awake. Awake to the scheme, awake to the tricks, awake to the fact that I, indeed, have the power. The power to take control of my life, take control of living, take responsibility for being in every moment, the good, bad, ugly, beautiful, and everything around, inside, and in between. Because letting others control you is nonsensical. It's cowardly.
What I say when I wanna be enough? What a beautiful day for it, making a break for it. We'll find a way to pay for it. Maybe from all the money we made, raise a blaze stores, going to race horse and force a sponsor and start a concert, a complete diversion. Start a mob, but you can be quite certain we'll win, but not everyone will get out. No, no. We'll win, but not everyone will get out. No, no. We'll win, but not everyone will get out. East is up. I'm fearless when I hear this on the low. East is up. I'm fearless when I wear my rebel clothes. East is up. When bishops come together, they will know that demon don't control us. Demon don't control. East is up.
I expel a lot of extra words most days. I can't help it. It's part of my process. I need to work through the thought to arrive at another. I don't see what's so hard to understand about that. However, it's the issue of a lack in patience, and to another extent, comprehension that are hindering when it comes to others with whom I communicate. That is to say, I can be too long-winded, rambly, and generally all over the place for most people to follow along. Many need me to get to the heart of the matter, make my simple case, and move on. But that isn't always possible. So, when I dare to try and think aloud and work something out with someone, I'm often met with hostility, confusion, or worse, the void. You know, that vacant, blank stare people have when they've completely glitched out, shut down, and tuned out from what you're saying, lost in the void. So, what am I to do when I need to talk it out with someone else, with a voice outside my head? Well, I'm to risk annoying, confusing, or glitching out people. Or, I turn to the internet and face different risks of potential miscommunication with a side serving of trolls. And it's not fair. I shouldn't have to do that. Even Adam was gifted Eve to complain to. What gain is it to take on every endeavor of knowledge by one's lonesome? It seems that would only be hindering to every individual and therefore all of humanity, so, no. I don't like it, it's not okay, and that's changing today. Because I declare it.
And she swears the moon don't hang as quite as high as it used to. I think she's crazy. And she only sleeps when it's raining. And she screams, but her voice is straining. She said, if it's 3 a.m. I must be lonely.
The higher we rise, the harder we fall. I honestly hadn't actually felt the feelings of angst or frustration, yet I acted as though I was having trouble coping with everything. Thinking back on it, I see now that I was feeling a bit sad. A small, misplaced string of sadness called family remains tied around my heart. And, if there's any angst or frustration to be had, it's the angst in deciding how to cut that tie, and the frustration of not knowing whether I should. I have a clearer understanding of many of my faults, given to me by my parents via their lack of parenting. Gah, but there I go casting blame again. I might need to stew in this a bit longer. So often, one of my biggest struggles is recognizing which problems are important. I'm finding comfort amongst this new group of people called truth seekers. I find that many of them have embraced this mindset of being youthful, or rather, childlike. Having the spirit of a childlike wonder, and that we're all still but children in so many ways. And I think that's very evident when it comes to the millennial generation. There are clearly fractions of it, and surrounding ones as well. But I think the millennials were marked the Peter Pans, those that never truly grew up. I mean, from where I'm standing, the boomers, they had some hippies. But a lot of them turned in their peace necklaces and flower crowns for mortgages, 401ks. And then Gen Xers, I feel many of the non-burnouts really got suckered into. Wall Street, I guess? That Wolf of Wall Street image. Greed image. Corporate America. And then by the time millennials came along, well, the boomers bought up all the land, hoarding all the money. Gen Xers took all the jobs that made any money. And that left us, this little slave class. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, scared-to-fail go-getters that completely got taken for a ride, abused. At least I know I did. Growing up, I often felt as though I was different from those around me. But I always fell back into the crowd. I wasn't always comfortable standing out on my own. I didn't know how to raise myself, which is what I was being asked to do. But I'm rambling now, let's see how this plays out tomorrow. I've come to a realization and acceptance that I'm so very, very emotionally immature in so many ways. The only sense of maturity seems to be that with which I was born. Or so I'm told. So many memories from a large portion of my youth, the years I can remember, anyway, are comprised of people telling me how grown-up, mature, smart, and generally altogether, I was for my age. An old soul, they called me. Yet, as I got older, and I started to venture out on my own, I found myself wandering unmarked trails alone. Sometimes it unnerved me, other times, it felt exciting, like I was on an adventure no one ever experienced. But when I made my way back to the village to share my tale with the others, I was met with unpleasantries. I was ridiculed for not walking the known path, lectured about potential, unknown dangers in branching out, and questioned for straying from the approved story. Seemingly overnight, I went from inspirational with unlimited potential, to overrated and underwhelming. Oh, and crazy, I can't forget to mention that. I went from genius to crazy in a heartbeat. Although, it is common knowledge that the line between those two is thin, so I guess I shouldn't be too surprised when others' perspectives of where I stand in relation to that line are skewed. There is something very wrong with many regarding the management of emotions. The more I think about it, it seems there is a strong correlation between intelligence and how we manage our emotions. And I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who are educated on this topic and might hear me say that and say, yeah, duh. But here's the thing, I'm only now figuring this out. I was a gifted, straight-A, honor roll student involved in several extracurriculars with plenty of friends. My college offered me a teaching internship before I was technically even a student. When it came to employment, I was wiping the floor with my peers, rising the ranks to management nearly every place I went for 20 years. However, when it came to managing my own life, my emotions, myself, I was a failure. I was quick to get frustrated, and while I didn't always lose my cool immediately, I would stew in the angst and anger, fretting about how something didn't come out quite like how I thought it should have. Bipolar bouts of unrelenting depression and joy constantly battling one another became a mode of transportation to which I eventually became accustomed, but I never learned how to drive the machine myself. And when I think about how adamant I was about owning my own car so I could drive myself places, be in control of where I was, could come and go as I please, and that I didn't apply that idea to myself, my body, my vessel of transportation in this realm, well, it makes me feel pretty damn stupid. Oh, and there goes a headline about people born in the 80s and 90s having bewildering levels of mental health issues, pegging the millennials as the leaders in that trend. As an early 80s baby myself, I've always felt trapped in the middle of two worlds. A Donna Reed world and, I guess, the Jetsons world. And shit, even my references are dated now. People, in general, from the Western world, specifically, have been under society's spell for so long that most have no idea how to control themselves. But it seems that was the plan all along. A world of helpless, pathetic, sad, and confused children desperate for a savior of any kind. I put my head to my pillow last night, or rather, pre-dawn this morning, and I finally felt that I had become a writer. My head was filled with visions, not of sugar plum fairies, but of finished, published collections. I had been telling myself I wanted to be an author one day for so long that it finally came true. What was more exciting was that I recognized this. And I know this doesn't sound amazing on the surface. Let me explain. When you manifest something, you may not always be aware that you did. That is to say, if you expect something will happen, then when it does, you resign to accepting that it's simply the way it was meant to be, the way things are. It doesn't occur to people who think this way that they actually created its existence. If, instead, this possibility did not exist even inside this person's head, then it's highly probable that said incident would have never occurred. And I used to have this very mindset, that I was cursed or plagued with bad luck, or, as I always described it to others, it was, the irony that is my life. But last night, this morning, I realized my realization. Literally. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you're not impressed or as in awe as I was. And I get it. It wasn't your moment. It was mine. But I think the concept of fake it till you make it doesn't get the credit it truly deserves. And, again, the problem I've had, which I'm gradually overcoming, is that I've been the one in my way all along. Again, I know I'm not creating any hard-hitting news, ain't nothing new about my universal experiences, I get it. I guess I'm only proud of myself for finally seeing the truth. That there is no spoon.
Last year, I needed change of pace. Couldn't take the pace of change. Moving hastily. But this year, though I'm far from home, entrenched, I'm not alone. These faces facing me, they know. They know what I mean.